Yeah, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hardcore Metal Detecting Radio Show. I'm Derek Asklar, and Craig Talley's on the line. We'll be hosting the show tonight. I see that Jason's already on. Hello, Jason, on chat line. If you guys want to get on chat, all you have to do is go to Spreaker.com and log into the Hardcore Metal Detecting Radio Show and just hit the comment button, and you can get in on chat also. But we're going to have open lines tonight. Our phone number is 352-504-4170 if you'd like to call in and bring up a topic or a story, your last hunt, or what have you. And we'll be glad to have you on there. Craig, I've been just kind of going nuts for the past week, wanting to go out here into this new property. And, well, I got out to see the property, and they met the owner of the property. He came up visiting today. They're renovating the Cracker house and everything. So it was a nice meeting. I was there actually from 11:30 until about 2:15, talking with him and showing some information that I had found. And of course, with Pauline, she's found or given me. And he's pretty responsive, Craig. Man, he is. I think he's already got the bug. He's already wanting to. He said, "Well, I've been thinking about getting a metal detector for years now, but." He goes, I don't know. I don't have the time. I said, well, I know about time, because I've been trying to get out too, but I have an extra one if you want to try it. And he was all excited about that. So, of course, I got to wait till he comes out here next time. I figure I'd have to hunt with him a couple times to, build up that, relationship or whatever. And then he'll probably just let me, pretty much run free on there and do whatever, But he was kind of surprised. It was nice to see. They're actually cleaning up some of the brush and stuff like that. And I didn't have my camera with me when we were out walking around on the property there a little bit, but he'd cleaned up along where the bridge came off the bridge onto the ground right there. He trimmed out all the palmetto trees and saplings and stuff that were along there, and he actually found when it was real dry about 10, 15 years ago. We've been dry for a while down here, but we had a 4-year drought and everything had kind of, the river was down and the ponds were down and stuff like that. Well, he actually saw the railings or whatever for the bridge that go across. They're like 80 foot long, and they're down in the river. So back in the 1800s, or not even 1800s, the 1960s, it looks like they had stacked them along the edge of the river, and of course had a storm or whatever, and it kind of got sunk in right there. But now they're underwater a little bit because we don't have a drought anymore. So he knows right where they're at, and he's trying to figure out how to get them up out of there without heavy equipment. We'll see how that. I haven't physically seen them with my eyes, but he goes, if anything else, he wants to get them out of there, but he'd like to, see about at least building the part that, right by the shoreline, making it look like there's going to be a start of a bridge or something like that, just for namesake or for historical sake. So, I don't know where this is all going to lead to, but he's loves history too, and so does his wife. So. And they've had that property for quite a while. And he did tell me, and he kind of laughed, because I was kind of talking to him about detecting out here. He goes, yeah, there's been a guy out here, a while back. I caught him out here, and he didn't really find anything. But he goes he wasn't on this property here. He was off the adjacent property. He goes, but we kind of run people off. I said, well, I know. I said, that's why I've never, come over here. Trying to get to this place anyways, you have to drive like a mile back in through fields and stuff. But the road itself is actually the stagecoach road. He just cleared it. He didn't know what he was doing, as far as what it was before. Took the path of least resistance. And that turned out, I think he's maybe 5 foot off of where the roadway actually was, according to my maps and stuff like that. So it's kind of neat. It's all set up. But I found the flats, like we were talking about on the show there, the flats where they used to do the laundry and the kids would swim and stuff like that. But I can actually see the stone for that embankment for the bridge, the hand-stacked and packed stone. That's what they used to reinforce it right there. And those pillars, that I think you can see them in the photograph. I have some better photos I need to put up. I actually have a photo of the other 2 bridge pylons on the other side of the river when they were still standing. And essentially what they did is they drove these steel tubes in, or set them in, into the riverbed, and they'd fill them with like wood, like long pieces of wood, and dump concrete and rocks down in there and reinforce them that way. And over time, they're right at the water line right there, real low. The rust had gone, rusted. The pipe had rusted out, and of course got weak right where the concrete was, and the wood probably rotted away inside, and that's why those two pillars fell over. But they're, according to what I can find out, they're 20-foot tall pylons sticking 20 foot out of the river right there, and the one is still up on his side of the river. One of the pylons is still up, so I'll be able to get some photos of it, and I can walk right down to the water, and that's where the pylon, lies. Is right there. So, I couldn't do that the last time I was there, getting any photos of it because it was so thick. But he goes, I really think there might be some stuff out here, and I find arrowheads and everything, and he goes, we just want to, just for our sake, to get a history of our property. And I just told him, that's what a lot of us, help people do, and it's fun for us to metal detect, but we can also help save some history for you, so what, kind of where things were on your property and stuff. And I found on old survey map, I found 200 feet from that cracker house, some kind of a structure, because it was on a survey map or topo map. And I don't, we have no idea what that part is, how late it was there. This was actually on a topo map in 1951, so this is plenty past, but there's no remnants of it. I was out there today, and I measured it up on one of those walking, the roller things with a measuring thing, to walk along and kind of roll it on the ground to get the distance, and I knew it was like 200 feet, 183 to 200 feet away from the cracker house. So, I got that area kind of in my head where that is, and it could have been a big barn, it could have been anything really, but when they were doing these surveys in 51, these aerial photos, these water oaks, you won't even know a house is sitting somewhere because the oaks overtake and go over top of it and everything. You can't see it from the sky. So, kind of, I was limited on that, being able to see that in the photos and stuff, or the aerial photos. But I think I found right where it was, right where it was at. And of course, a lot of the trees aren't there anymore. They've all died off. So, yeah, it's just interesting property, man. But I won't be able to hunt it this next weekend, but the following weekend he's going to come out, and we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping to get on this back property here this week sometime. I'm actually I'm too busy. Life's just not letting me catch up with it yet. So, you've been kind of doing the same thing, haven't you? Just trying to get everything else done. Yeah. But that's about where we're at on it. But yeah, he's just wanting any kind of information because he's hitting the brick wall. And I was telling him, he goes, he hears stories from this person or that person, because he actually owns property across the river. And, he says, well, this person said this, and I read this in the newspaper, and the information is there, but it's not accurate as far as time frame or they have it in the one paper that the bridge was built during the Civil War, and it was built by slaves and this and that. Well, it was built long before that. And photos he had were actually of different bridges, or a bridge in a different town, but he was told, and he thought this was the wooden bridge that was there back in the day, until I pulled a photo up and said, no, see right here, it lists it. He goes, that is the same bridge, isn't it? I said, yeah, all the little details on it, the way the boards were sitting and the railings and stuff like that, it all matches up totally, and it was all hand done. He goes, that is the same bridge. I said, yeah, that was actually in a different town, but it would probably looked just like this one, and that's probably why the people thought it was the bridge in his shadow there. So yeah, he was just very responsive, and wanted to get as much information as he can, just for his own sake. He's not interested in any, really doing anything. I told him, I said, well, I hunt and I take pictures and videos, and, I kind of document it the best I can, and I can, possibly get into at least the different sections, the geolocate kind of thing, so he'll have know where the finds were kind of made, what kind of finds, and, Of course, let him see him and all that. He's not really, the relics he's interested in, but not the coinage and stuff like that. But because it was built before the Civil War, that would have been one of the few bridges to get across in this area. I think they built I think I have a paper where they built the State Road Bridge, which is about maybe a mile from that one. I think it built it in 1943 or something like that, so or 42. So that would have been the one bridge that any kind of troops or anything could have come across back then, anyways. So maybe there's a possibility of some Civil War stuff being there because they would have encamped on either side, as they were coming through. I would think, but we're talking it's about the halfway point between Dade Battlefield and oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the fort or whatever. They usually kept them like 10 to 20 miles apart. So this place would have been the halfway point. So I think back then, Craig, what they were doing about 10 miles a day, something like that, maybe 20. But down here, it's so doggone thick unless they had the paths were cleared, or roads, whatever you want, stagecoach roads and stuff like that. I don't know how much time you would make, depending on whether you're in fields or because if you're in the woods, man, you're gonna be fighting to get through it. So,
well, they would have probably been on any available roads they could get. I don't think they'd be.
Yeah, you don't want to try to
the woods like that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's just a good vibe, and he said him and his wife really just liked the property. It just has a good aura about it. And he goes, then he started talking about, of course, all the bad stuff that happens along the river back then. It was it's a different world, man. I mean, could be, it was a lot of good, but there was a lot of rough and tough and, crazy stuff going on too. So, and there's some records of it, on the bridge and what they did, and just along the people that were travelers, getting robbed or whatever else along the way, which was a really real thing to happen anywhere, really, down here. Florida was a tough place to live back then. They didn't. I'm sure, it'd be like up where you're at, Craig. Back in the day, everywhere was rough in the 1800s, just surviving, the early 1800s. So it was just kind of nice to talk to somebody that was kind of like-minded in that way. Just wanted to see what was there and to save it, if you could. So, so they're working hard to get the house there restored or whatever to get it. He wants to make it period. He's using a lot of the same wood design and stuff like that on there. He seems to be really about that. So I think he'll have a nice little summer, a weekend home or whatever for him and him and his wife. And the view you can't beat. It's just like it's one of the most perfect spots, really. It's one of the second highest point along that river. So the next one up the river, he does have another piece of property up there, and it has there was a home there. He has no idea about any time, when it was built, when it was torn down, or what happened with it. But he wants to take me up there and have me poke around there and see if I can find any kind of remnants of it or any kind of items that would kind of refer to who had it. So and he has no idea what year it was built or what year it came down. So we just don't know anything about it yet. But it was, just kind of get those juices flowing, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got my adventure continues slowly. It's driving me crazy. I want to get a coil to the ground so bad. But yeah, he had a lot of tons of questions, even the kind of detectors I'm using, and so I brought him along just to so in case he wanted to hunt. But he's like, oh man, these things are a lot better than the one that I used to use. And I said, when did you detect? He goes, oh, early 70s. So I don't know if it was one of those, he said it was real heavy, whatever he used. So I'm thinking it was one of the metal boxed ones. I don't know.
Well, most of them were back then.
Yeah, it was like a 5900 or something like that.
They didn't really have plastic ones back then, really. Most of them called them toaster on a stick.
Yeah. And that's what he was saying. He said, my gosh, he goes, they've come a long way. I said, yeah, these are, I was showing him a few detectors that I regularly use, and he's like, oh wow, these things are super light, He's just really enthralled, with the visual of them. I said, yeah, they're not toys anymore. They're, these newer detectors are a lot better than, performance-wise, just because of technology, a lot better than what they were. You would probably fight to get a nickel at 5 inches with a lot of those machines that you used back then. Nowadays, that ain't nothing for these machines to get them at 9, 10 inches down. And he said, okay, well, I'll have to look into these, but I'd really like this one. He actually had the Quest Pro, and he was, he's like, oh man, this thing is super light and everything. This is really neat. It folds up nice. I said, yeah. So it's, I set those right in the truck, right on the floorboard on the passenger side. Just stand them up, coil first, and they lean back against the seat, and it's perfect. I put both of them in there, and I got the bliss tool in, and I just went over there. I had a laptop with me. Of course, they don't have Wi-Fi out there, or a system for that yet. So, heck, they're having a problem getting a mailbox put up. Put it that way, Craig. That place has never had a mailbox, so there you have to actually, I don't know if it's register it or whatever. They finally, the mailman stopped by to say, well, you don't have any mail today to the caretaker. You had to open up the gate for me and everything on the way out. And I said, you still have a mailbox? He goes, yeah, I think we could put one in. But he's been waiting for a month and a half to get that started because there's never been mail that goes there, so they have to, get it on their register and all this hoopla stuff, I'm sure. But yeah, so that's a big adventure all the way around. So I'm just looking forward to getting out there and seeing what I can find. But we'll see what happens with it. But you were out just cruising around yesterday, weren't you? You saw a bunch of guys detecting, didn't you? Or something you were telling me about before the show.
Actually, Mike mentioned it, and I was going to the grocery store near Strasburg, so I just drove down that way and saw a guy and a girl in the front yard of his house. And I remember Steve was telling me he used to live kind of maybe 2 fields away from there about 6 years ago, and several times he saw like lights in the field at night, and one of the neighbors said, "Oh, there's this relic gun or something." But when I came back about maybe 20 minutes later, maybe 15 minutes later,
yeah,
they were getting into their vehicle leaving, and it was probably about 11 o'clock. But I doubt they were finding much. I didn't see what they had. Mike said one of the people had a Garrett, he thought.
Yeah. That's a tough area. That field, wasn't it the field you were telling me about that you guys had hunted already, or? Oh no, never mind. That was the cabin area, right?
There's one nearby that, well, just on the other side of the property that is city property, and I might be able to hunt that, but I got to make sure. But yeah. Steve's hunted it before, and right now the grass is probably, I don't know, not quite knee high.
Oh wow! So yeah, that's too high. Yeah.
They keep it cut all around the edges, and
right
off to the left near the street they've got a big Civil War display, and they found a picket post there, and I guess they're putting the stuff together, getting more displays and stuff. They just renovated the old building they used to have the city council and the mayor and everything do all the official business. And I guess they found asbestos all in the building, so they had to renovate the whole thing.
Oh wow!
And they're getting ready to move back in, but they've added some stuff on and looks pretty good. And I guess they're putting displays in there and stuff.
Yeah.
And people next door telling me about it. They're into all these different little historical societies and stuff around. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like a whole, almost like, a couple times one day we saw like, all of a sudden we see like the whole street's full of people, and they're all going in the house. I've been like 40 people in there. So they do about a couple tours, 2 or 3 tours a year. And then last year they came for the crawl for the first time. So they said they were going to come back this year. But I was looking at had these historical prints and stuff I was looking at, and they had one of it didn't say Stonewall Jackson on it, but the Confederate showed the Confederate Army blowing up a bridge at Harper's Ferry in 1861. That's right up the road from us.
Oh, okay.
But we're real close to West Virginia, and that's kind of like I guess there's like 3 rivers that all connect right there, maybe 2 or 3 different rivers that connect right there at Harper's Ferry. And that's where John Brown was. They grabbed John Brown, that was the abolitionist.
Right, right.
And that happened there. And then up on Maryland Heights was like probably 100,000 Union troops were up there, and people talked about all the relics that were found over the years in that place, and it was real bad mineralization up there.
Right.
From what I hear.
Yeah.
There's some parts of Maryland up near Gettysburg and all on the mountains. It's pretty mineralized.
Right, right.
But
well, there's a gold belt, isn't there a gold belt that runs right through Virginia, down through South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, all the way down into Alabama? That's the main gold. So you're going to have a lot of mineralized soil along that path, I would think. I think that's.
Yeah,
I remember reading about it one time.
This area doesn't seem too bad. It's limestone rocks, so it's not really, they're not really mineralized.
Right.
But I guess some of the mountains nearby, we're right in the foothills, and we can look out the back and see the mountain, like a whole mountain range of the Alleghenies.
Right.
But there's a couple like Signal Knob Mountain just down the street. It's this really cool looking mountain. It's just like a mountain just sitting there on the valley sticking up. It's not really. I think really a range or anything.
Yeah, that's
the Confederates were up. They were up there mapping and stuff during the Civil War. And this famous guy was a mapper, and he would be up there. But they'd also have signals. They developed signals so they could relay information, at long distance. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Is that the mountain that we saw? Shoot, I'm trying to remember which way I went up to Ohio. Came up through there, went up over that big mountain range, the one you were talking about. But you could see that hill that you're talking about by itself, or nothing around it. Is that the one I'm thinking?
I doubt you were down that way.
Oh, okay.
I went up more. When I went to Ohio, I went. You would have cut below all that, I think.
Was it 77?
If you were going to go to Ohio.
Yeah, my brain is not working. 18 and a half years on the road, you'd think I'd remember an interstate. You know what I mean? That's my memory's shot as far as that goes. But, there's always, I can't remember, I think it was Virginia. There's just like a lone mountain out there you could see, and then all the other, you're traveling over the other mountains. Maybe it was in West
Virginia. I'm kind of in the northeastern part of the state.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Northern Shenandoah Valley.
Oh, okay.
But our elevation's like about 800 feet, something like that. But
right.
Within, most of the mountains are kind of short. They're 1,000. Some I've seen a few that are 3,000. Maybe about 20 miles from here, there's a gigantic area. It's almost like, it's huge. I don't know how many. Must run at one point for about 20 or 30 miles. Is this George Washington National Forest.
Uh-huh.
And we got Skyline Drive, which is goes up over top of all the mountains. I haven't gone up there. I've been up there when I was a kid, but I'd like to take a trip up there, and just travel down it. And they got all kinds of scenic outlooks, off the top of this mountain range. That's mainly what it is, kind of a mountain range. And we got the Shenandoah River in the North and South Fork. They kind of swirl all around this area.
Mm-hmm.
They got this one guy that he does tubing, and people get on these tubes and float down the river.
Right.
Down to this other spot he's got, and then they get on a bus and he brings them back up to the first spot.
Yeah.
But it's probably like, I don't know, 15 miles away, something like that. I can't remember, but guy makes like $3 million a year.
Yeah. Jeez.
Just
Yeah.
for
Having
down
fun.
the river.
Having fun.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, my hat's off to him, man. If you can do something and make money at it and have fun at it, by golly, do it. Enjoy every minute of it. You know,
Mike was telling about it. I said, I wonder if Aqua Chigger was down there and diving down there, finding all kinds of stuff people dropped. You know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you just,
When
there's,
we were kids, we used to see big tours coming down the Shenandoah River up near Harper's Ferry,
right.
and there would be like probably 30 rafts, or 30 big inner tubes full of people coming down through there.
Heck, if me and Pauline's balance wasn't so bad anymore, we'd probably get in a canoe and go up the river, down here on this river, just because it's beautiful. I mean, it's I call it like especially when it's in the evening or the morning, it's so quiet out there. You just all the wildlife and everything. I don't know, I haven't been on a lot of the other rivers, but this river is just teeming with critters and this and that, gators and everything. There's a lot of stuff to look at, turtles, everything, but just the general scenery of it all. But I don't know, if me and Pauline got into a canoe, we'd probably argue afterwards who tumped us over. It's because she's saying it's me. I did it. Yeah, we might get away with a canoe, but I don't know. I don't know. As you get older, I mean, I used to, climb up, put roofs on barns and everything else. Nowadays, it's like, yeah, I'm not afraid of heights. Like, Craig, if you were on fire on top of the roof, I would go up there and dump a bucket of water on you. But I don't really want to go up there, that kind of thing. Not scared of height. And then really, I shouldn't be worried about it, because really it's not the fall that hurts you. It's just a sudden stop at the bottom. So if I can avoid the sudden stop, I'd be all right. But,
yeah, I think when you're younger, you don't, worry about dying.
Well, no, it's just the sure-footedness. Yeah, I mean, I've been in a couple of really bad wrecks, and the last one, I took those like 5 concussions or something like that, and it's just messed up my. You've noticed it too when I'm walking, walking up and down hills and stuff. I got to kind of watch, because I think it's my equilibrium, or my brain got scrambled. Obviously, anybody who knows me knows my brain's a little scrambled. So, the sure-footedness of it, it just, both of us are the kind of the same way. We'll fall over, walking and trip on something, and it's like, God, man, I feel like a blooming idiot, But it happens. But I was talking, like Mike Miller was up, when we were down over at the CWPPO, and you guys walked up that embankment from the river. I wasn't even going to try that stuff. I mean, even you guys said that was treacherous. I'm like, I think it was me and Dave Ettinger or Mark Hoover. I can't remember which one I was walking with at that time. We walked up the runoff channel up into the back field back there. And, that's where we met up with, I think that's where I met up with Dwight Collin and Brian Robinson up through there. Then we, the next day we all 4 of us hunted right in that spot. And me and you walked up the side of the mountain there, up into those higher fields and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wasn't going to try to attempt to walk up, because my, the knees are shot. And it really sucks, because you want to go and do it. It's just, hey, if I do this, I'm going to be hurting pretty bad, by the, in the next couple hours, and I'm going to be done. So you kind of, you rein yourself in a little bit and just only do what you can do. And that's everybody. Everybody has their, different things that bother their knees and ankles and everything else. Unless you're young and 20 something or maybe early 30s, then you don't have any pain yet. But just, my dad always told me, he says, when you after 40, you might as well just get ready. It all hurts, and you always know you're living really good when you wake up in pain every morning. So I'm living good. So you're alive when you feel the pain. Yeah. I live in a bottle of Advil, okay? That's my world. So I know you get like that with your ankles too and your elbows, because you played tennis and track and all that stuff you did, and it's starting to catch up with you a little bit, but you still get around pretty doggone fast, Craig, when you want to. I try to keep up with you in the woods, and I'm like, you're gone. And then once you start hunting, then I can catch up, because you work like a snail. But that's the way you hunt too, so that works out good.
Yeah, my knees are fine. You know, I can, bend down and back up, easily, but, most people my age and getting older, from what I've seen, I know guys that have had to quit because their knees they can't do it anymore with their knees.
Well, let me tell you something, guys. Craig, I know, I think you were 61 out there teaching still. And I remember you telling me, yeah, they want to, play me in tennis, and I beat their butt even then. I'm 61 years old, and they're 18, 25, and I'm beating them to death. I'm like, yeah, that's the way to do it. You still had it. You still got it, too. I mean, I know what you mean. You just can't, certain things you can't just, do like you used to. You can't go all day long like you used to. So, don't beat yourself up. But, man, I thought that was pretty funny when you told me that. I played tennis today, and they couldn't believe that I beat them.
Yeah, I couldn't move like I used to or anything, but I could, I had control of the shots,
Right.
I know the strategy and everything, I know people, I can instantly see what a guy doesn't want to hit, and
Right.
that's what I feed them, this steady diet of, that's why you play tennis, is you give them shots that they don't like to play,
Yeah. Don't be nice, Craig. I know what you do. You probably do it just like I would. Headhunter. I'm hitting that ball directly at you, buddy. You're going to have to try to hit it back. Pound them.
Well,
Well,
tennis, not dodgeball.
I was telling a funny story the other day. We years ago, I was really good in doubles, and we were playing these kids that were ranked top 15 in the country, and I think they were like 16 or 17, something like that. But we started beating them, and so they started cheating, and balls are in by a foot and a half, 2 feet, and they're calling them out. And so, after about 3 or 4 shots, I just came up and I just started headhunting and smashing them with balls whenever I got a chance.
Yep.
Instead of trying to put the ball away, I
Make
just
them think
went right
about it.
for 'em.
Yep. Make them think
And
about it.
So within about 3 games, I'd hit them about 6 or 7 times. Finally, I was waiting for this the whole time, and so finally the one guy goes, "How come you keep trying to hit it? Keep hitting us." And I go, "If I hit you, you can't call it out.
Right.
But if I don't hit you, you call it out. So
Yeah.
if you want to quit playing that, quit cheating, then I won't hit you." But,
You and me think a lot alike, because I did that in some of the sports I played. I played soccer from the time I was 5, and then into football too. But in high school and stuff, and we'd be out there playing a game. You have people that would cheat all the time, or like slide tackle you, or whatever you want to call it. I got tired of that stuff. I started making they were the target. The goal wasn't the target; they were the target. And I'd make them think twice about coming and doing that again, because I don't know if you've ever eaten a soccer ball at 50 mile an hour into your face, but that's what I'd do. I'd make them think about it. That way they'd start playing right. And I've had a few of them say the same thing. Why do you keep on hitting us? Because you keep on cheating, dude. Don't nail me. I'm going to nail you right back one way or another. That's the way I play. If you're going to play tough, we're going to play tough. And they usually straightened out, and everything kind of went on from there. But, it just, you got to put them in their place, What's that?
Yeah.
Paulie's talking to the dog, not me. I don't know if you guys can hear her or not. She's right over here next to me, but I got the headset on. But she told me that it was called tennis, not dodgeball. That's what she was telling you about the headhunting. So, yeah, I just got to take care of it.
we used to have this game they called murder ball or something, where you have one guy would get the ball and then try to hit all these other people. It's with the ball, and there's like 3 guys that were super athletes. One of the guys, I could really throw. I could throw so hard that scared people. And so me and this one black guy would, we basically dominated throwing balls. And the got so where they said, "Oh no, you can't play that game anymore." It was like dodgeball, but we called it murder ball.
Yep. Well, Barb is on here saying that when she played played girls, the thing just jumped around. Girls field hockey, she was an ankle slasher. She slashed her ankles with the stick there. Those, I can see, Barbara O'Connor here, but yeah, you just had to do what you had to do. They're gonna play mean right back.
But one time I was running track, and we were running against a Catholic Catholic like private school, and I lost the mile. This one guy blocked me in right at the end of the race, and his teammate won the race by like a foot and a half, and he was a Catholic champion at the time, and he was about a year older than I was. But anyway, I had to run the half mile about, I don't know, 25 minutes later, and I had to run the Catholic state champion in that. So coming off the last turn in the straightaway, I start, putting on a sprint, and the guy, starts elbowing me and pushing me, back, and so I run out to the third lane. He follows me out, still elbowing me.
No.
Finally, I get out to about the 6th or 7th lane, and he's still elbowing me. And we're approaching the finish line, and I just took my left arm and smashed him right in the neck, and
throat punch.
Yeah, and then I burst and went to the finish line,
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, the first thing I was thinking is, as soon as I win this race, I'm going to beat the crap out of this guy.
Yeah.
So I turned around, and I got my fist up, and I was like weak, really weak, because
You just ran a million miles. Yeah.
And I didn't even realize I set the school record
Right.
in that race.
Just pure rage.
Even though I got all beat up, and I'd already run the mile, before that. But anyway, before I could throw a punch, my coach had already picked me up off the ground and took me off the field. So
Yeah.
anyway, they tell the school says I'm disqualified. So both of our coaches go nuts, and they said, "All right, everybody get on the bus. We're leaving.
Yep.
We're going to call the Virginia State, track thing and tell them what happened." So then they go, "Oh, no." So they ended up disqualifying him and making me the winner.
That's what really gets me about some of this stuff. I watch some of these, sporting events, whatever, like the soccer over in, Europe and stuff like that. It's real fun. Yeah, the only thing I don't get, they've changed it around a little bit just to make it more, I guess, to flow a little bit more. There's some of the rules that I remember, they've changed, but I get tired of the slide tackles, all the time, every single time. Slide, bang into them. If they played like that back when we were younger, there'd be more fist fights. I've been red carded out of games because of that. Just getting run over. That's why I usually played, forward or center forward, or I usually like right winger, but they had me in goal sometimes, and it was just the same way. I could get away with it as a goalkeeper as long as I was going for the ball. So you'd piss with me, I'd just come right at you. You were coming in there trying to score, I'd go for that ball, but I'd make sure the elbows were out and stuff like that. If you did it to me, you're getting it back, and that's the only, just it's competition. It gets rough. And I've seen, in football's the same way, and there's certain things you do, and
people need to not hit my son.
Yeah, we were at my son's football game, and a couple of years ago, and they used to triple team him. He was a big kid, strong. He played offensive tackle, and then he played fullback too, but they would gang up on him. They'd put 3 people. It's the only way they could stop him, But cheap shots, and Pauline, well, I swear to God, she was got on that field and beat those kids' butts. I tell you, when they hit my son, it didn't hurt him at all, but it was just the cheap shots, She doesn't play well with others in their sandbox, so she's not allowed to go to football games. So. And she didn't even blink an eye either. She was coming off those bleachers. She goes, "If I can't get those kids, I'm going to get their parents for raising a hooligan as a child." I think I probably said it nicer, didn't I?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what she said. Yep. You said it a lot nicer than I was going to say it. Getting back on topic and stuff. It's a competition. A lot of times competition is good. It brings out the best in some, in most of us anyways. But it gets out of hand, even in metal detecting. I've seen, we've talked about it on the show. You're hunting with a few people, it becomes kind of like a competition. And man, I know some of the stories you've told, Craig, about
Yeah.
certain people. It's
I'm
like,
just as competitive as anybody, but
right,
I don't, I don't go nuts if I would have, I would have already lost my mind if I was that way. Seeing 4 gold coins come out of the ground near me, during hunts in the past.
right,
I've seen some unbelievable stuff come out of the ground that I didn't find, but I've also found some cool stuff myself, but I just have never found a gold coin.
right.
I was one of the first people to congratulate people that found it, because that, it didn't upset me one bit. I just wanted, I thought, man, that's great, unbelievable. It just makes you, to me, it tells me, it's just kind of luck, almost, but you can find something like that if you, maybe, I don't know. My friend next door has found 2 gold coins. The guy that got me into metal detecting he's found 2.
Yeah.
So
it's just the luck of getting your coil over them. That's the biggest thing, because a lot of the people that I know that have dug coins, gold coins, they haven't been real deep. I mean, they're not like extreme depth. It was just a matter of getting your coil over it to find it. And we go back to these spots over and over again, like your yard, Craig. I mean, I know the way you hunt. You're methodical, but as the ground changes, as the soil moisture changes, as you uncover and get, bigger metal items out of the way, it's just the luck of the draw there. I mean, you just got to be thorough so you don't miss something, but you can miss targets. I mean, we all do it at some time or another. And, it's just slowing down to do it. But I don't think I've ever been mad at somebody for finding more than me, or, whatever, that kind of, competitive attitude. I mean, it's just, I kind of laugh. I've seen people throw their metal detector. I mean, just mad as, all get out for whatever reason. And it's like, don't take it out on the equipment, man. That thing ain't going to work real good the next time you go to use it. They are electronics. They are kind of sensitive. You might need to put some padding on the detector. Well, like one guy at the Pennsylvania hunt, chucking his Deus. I was like, oh my God, $1,500 metal detector. You just chucked it. And broke it. It broke the lower shaft on it. I'm like, oh, well, whatever. But you've had them too. They hunt right in front of you and cut you off and start hunting right where you're at. And I mean, blatantly, not even like edging up on you, just come like cut right. We had a guy do it at the DIPA or the digging in Virginia. We're all hunting up the side of this cornfield, up this hill. Everybody's like shoulder to shoulder, well, within reason, 10 feet apart. And we're working our way up to the top of this little hill through the corn stubble. And here comes somebody right in front, within 10 foot in front of us, metal detecting and finding stuff right in front of you or right in front of the next guy next to you. And we're all just looking at him like, a little bit of etiquette, dude, a little bit. There is etiquette in metal detecting and things you do and what you don't do. And it's like, we didn't say nothing, but, you don't want to start an argument over something silly like that. But it was just principle. Don't walk right up on somebody and like cut them off. There's 1,000 acres out here. You can go anywhere. But instead working whatever behind us, like, across, which is cool because he was hitting it from a different direction. It was just like, he just went in front of, 12 people. And we're all just looking at each other like, okay, who's going to say something? And we all just kind of looked out and started metal detecting again. We didn't want an argument. But you had that guy doing the same thing to you. You were hunting one side, and he finds something, and then he comes to you and starts hunting in front of you. So you move to his side and find something on his side. And then he comes back and he gets all mad at you. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? You can't have your cake and eat it too that way, But
yeah, that was the guy that found unbelievable stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Very good. He was a very good hunter, and but sometimes, it's about it. It's not always the deep stuff.
No.
Sometimes you go into a spot that's never been hit before, and there's stuff everywhere.
You're
it
not.
doesn't happen that often, but you could go to one side and you find nothing but bullets, and the other guy's finding half bullets and half buttons, or I've been to sites where first day I took this guy near the trenches, and he found a spur right off the bat, and then he dug a baby U.S. belt buckle.
Right.
And he was kind of surprised that, he's one of these guys that always, digs it in, whenever he finds something good, he's all bragging and talking, So, I known the guy for years, and so he starts talking all this stuff, and so anyway, he was hunting up. Oh, no, I think we went back the next day, and so he's up hunting around this one area, and he finds another spur. So he's going, oh, look at this, I got another one, and you haven't found that much, and so I was looking at the area he was hunting, and so I decided that looks good. I want to hunt that area, and there was all kinds of deadfall everywhere.
Yeah.
So I said that just looks like a good area to hunt, and it was like within about maybe 40 feet from the trenches, but it was like a little flat area. It was a little bit higher, and so I said, So anyway, he started moving away. So I said, hey, you finished with that area there, So he said, yeah. So I just sat my machine down and went in and kicked all the debris out of the way and just cleared about a 20-foot area, and I started hunting. Got one signal, and it was a Virginia halfpenny, 1773.
Jeez.
And
was
my
thick.
God, I was like, the hell with that damn little baby plate he found. I'd love to have it, but I'd rather have this coin.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Especially because it's 1773, and it's a Virginia halfpenny,
Yeah.
And it actually has King George's head on it.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually made specially in England for the colonies, for this.
It's got a lot of history to it.
Which is, and I think I've found 2 or 3 of them over the years, but I hear people finding them up, up north, in cellar holes and stuff up that way.
Yeah.
But and then later on in the day, there was a tree that had fallen over, and it had like enough area where I could stick the coil under and sweep. And it was broken off, but it was still off the ground a little bit. So I swept under it, and I got a good signal. So I'm whacking away on both sides of this log, digging this hole from both sides. And I finally get down, and I stick my hand down in the hole, and I can feel something, and I pull up a U.S. belt buckle.
Man, something else I've never found.
So then he goes crazy, and I go, wait a minute, you already found one the other day, but he got upset because I found one.
Yeah, some people get crazy competitive. Well, Mark Hoover just said he saw a video of a brawl at a cornhole toss for charity, and we play a lot of that down here. Actually, it's pretty much slanted. We'll call it a plywood it's slanted up. It has holes in it. Throw, like 20 feet apart, and you try to get in the bean bag in these little holes, and it's fun for everybody because kids can play it and everything else, and it's usually a good time. Just to kick back and on a Sunday afternoon and play that and have a few beers, whatever. They do it at some of the little River Rats restaurant and stuff like that. They were doing it all the time. But he saw a video, 2 guys, big brawl at a cornhole toss for charity. It was hilarious. He said, "Yeah, they think some people, man, I tell you, I don't know how you can really cheat it. I guess you could step over a line or something. It's like horseshoes almost, but." Still, I don't know. Take it very, very seriously. Some people do. So, steel darts. Steel darts. That's a game you don't want to really be too competitive with because those sharp-pointed things hurt when they hit you. So, cheat at that, you get poked with a dart, literally. So, but
we used to in this guy's basement. Play darts in the basement, and we'd stand back about 15 feet, maybe 20 feet, and throw the darts at the board from that distance. And we had we had this tray, and we'd as soon as they finished throwing darts, we'd take the tray up there and just pull all the darts off. We'd have like 30 darts, and just pull all the darts off, put them on the tray, and bring them back.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have to. And then everybody just be grabbing them, firing them at the board. There was like holes in the ceiling and all around the fireplace.
Yeah, yeah. I guess there's a video. Somebody just watched it or whatever, that cornhole toss one. I'll have to watch that one. Probably just pulled up on YouTube. Mark was telling us about that. I did tell him too that the guy I was talking to today about the property and stuff. I said, if you want more people to come out here, I can do that too. I got a lot of friends down here in Florida. We'll hunt the heck out of it for you and get it documented and stuff. But the specialties that we all have, like Mark's really good. Other sideline, he's a great photographer, I think, anyways. And it's like, if you want photos, specific kind of photos and stuff, Mark has a good eye. And I'll I'll give him a call and have him come out. Or if you need somebody that, or want somebody to come out that has a specialty that is really good at, other than just actually physically metal detecting. Some people are really good researchers. Some people are involved in other stuff, whether it be videos or whatever. I said, our community has a lot of different specialties other than just metal detecting. And he thought that was pretty neat, because he's trying to find people that, anybody could do a search on a computer, but a lot of us, and we've kind of figured this thing out a little bit, anyways. Where to go, where to look on the internet, and also other topics that may have the topic that we're wanting, whether it's a building or whatever. How to get in, and I don't know, the imagination part of it, trying to figure out where you would find information about a building or a house, or we just have a knack for it. And I was telling you, there's a lot of guys that are really good at that too. So if you want more information, because I think I have the only photo in existence right now of that bridge, and I got to find it. I know I got it about 5 years ago. It was actually longer than that. It's been about almost 7 years ago. I think I found that photo at an old library that's closed now. It's been closed for 2 years, and I don't know what happened. This was actually on regular Xerox paper. They actually photocopied the entire pamphlet book, whatever it was. Is about 80 pages long. It was all information and photos of the riverboats, of the bridge over here, some of the people from back then. This was probably done in photos are probably from the, I say, 40s, 30s, right in there, maybe even farther back. But I had Xerox copied these things right there at the library because they wouldn't let me take this thing out of there. But now that the library's gone and everything, that was the only place I ever found photos of that bridge. And unless they're in family history, people around there that have photos and they take back in the 60s, they may have gotten a shot of this bridge or whatever. I've been kind of trying to find area or places on the internet that may have this kind of information, even if it's a rogue photo. But I haven't had any luck. He hasn't had any luck, and even he talks to a guy at the University of Florida. That's he's not an archaeologist, but he's into the history part of it. They've never been able to find a photo, so I may have the only one in existence right now, or one of two, obviously. But I have to find it. I just got so much. Well, you guys have seen my office and stuff, I think, in videos and stuff. With putting that showcase in there has enabled me to kind of get a lot of my relics just moved out of boxes or wherever I have them at, and put them in there. I have some that are obviously, on in wall hanging kind of things where you kind of mount the, if it's a coin or whatever, I have it all mounted there and you can put it on the wall. But I have a lot of stuff that's too big to do that, or you wouldn't want to do that. So I have it in that showcase, and I'm coming across stuff, Craig, from 13, 14 years ago that I found. And they were neat items, nothing worth a ton of money or nothing like that. It wasn't really about that. It's just the historical part of it. So I'm able to get those out. So now I got to find these papers and documents and stuff that I'd come across. Don't throw anything away. That's all. If you're in this hobby, don't throw any kind of historical stuff away at all. As far as the information you find, try to save it, because you may not even be able to find that website anymore, or get a copy of it, or people pull videos down and stuff where you've lost them. So if you can keep the information, and I have files on my computer just for that, even old videos that I made that I never edited and put on the internet, if I feel like there's something in that video that might make a good video someday or whatever when I have some time, I just keep it on my computer, put it on the external hard drive, so I have the information because you can't redo it. I mean, it's the find or whatever, it's gone. So, but yeah, he had a couple photos of bridges, but they were built similar but not the same. And it was kind of like, oh man, I thought I had something. I did find an aerial photo in 1951 where that bridge was still up, and it's definitely, you could see it. So he was really happy about that. He hadn't even been able to find that, and I had to thank Mr. Tom Bunch for that, because if you remember right, several years ago he gave us that website for historicaerial.com, and that's exactly where I found that bridge. That was kind of cool. I mean, you can't see it. I mean, one thing, Craig, if you go to buy a photo off that thing, I think it's like $120 for a aerial photo, to buy it outright. I was like, I'm not going to pay that. I'll deal with the watermarks all over, because it just gets the point across that there was a bridge there. But it was crazy for me, unless I was putting something together for, well, I don't know, like some video, real specific kind of thing where I'd want an actual photo in there. But you can go through there and use it as a research. You just have to deal with the watermarks on the aerial photos. So it just depends. They usually have their name on their historicaerial.com or whatever. There's several sites like that. I actually found a couple more on here. I don't want to really pull them up because I'm afraid I might kick the show off. But and I'm trying to remember the one. It actually had maps, and you could click on them, and they open up to full screen. But then you can zoom in farther, and and they're just random maps from around the country, all different eras. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick, because I think that's one you guys might like to check out, because they had a lot of different ones in there. It was through the shoot. Hang on, let me go down here. Hopefully, I'm not cutting you off, Craig. Historical Aerials was the one. Oh yeah, it's the Library of Congress maps, and I'm going to try to click to it and see if I can give you the web address. I thought it was really neat the way they had it set up. Let me see if it'll highlight. www.loc.gov/maps. That should get you that far anyways, and you can just do that, put that in the search engine. Very nicely done website, pretty easy to navigate. You can actually not only go look at maps, but also documentation on certain old documents and stuff like that. I just came across that, and some of you guys may have already known it or seen that before. But yeah, it was really neat, and you didn't have to pay for the service or nothing like that. And they even had Sanborn maps, individual maps on there, and they're kind of random. I couldn't find any on my direct area right here, but close by, like St. Augustine, Jacksonville, they have the old Sanborn maps. Which, getting involved with that whole deal on that website, that, if I remember right, that was pretty expensive to have access to those Sanborn maps websites. They covered everything from Craig, fires, thefts, houses being sold, and and whatever. It had maps and where these houses were, dates, and that kind of thing, if I remember right. But this was a neat little website I found with just the regular maps of Florida, especially the ones from like the early 1800s, and even I think they had a few in the 1700s too. But being able to magnify it and not have it distort and pixelate, that was really cool. And you can actually get pretty close in there. Some of them were topo maps, some were just regular maps, handwritten maps. I think they had a section in there for aerial photos too, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, aerial photos, I don't think, 1930s is when they started that, Craig? You think the military did? I don't think they were doing.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there. So, I mean, obviously you can't zoom in a lot on those because of the graininess. You probably have to have some kind of a program to smooth it out a little bit. But it gives you a general idea, and maybe you can see enough from the air, the imperfections in the ground and stuff like that from the air. It's a little bit easier. See, that's why I like drones so much. I want to get used to using this drone so I can actually fly over a spot and, you know, look at from the sky view to kind of see paths or indentations in the ground where, you know, or low points in the ground where a house could have been or set, whatever, you know, whatever I think, you know, I can find right there from the air that you're not going to see from the ground. I know Brandon was talking about doing that when he was out in the looking for those cellar holes and stuff to fly over the next little ridge or whatever. And you talked about it too, Craig. A lot of the guys are using that technology to help out their hunt.
I'm gonna get mine going up. I still haven't gotten mine back up in the air.
I haven't flown it at all. I haven't even flown the thing yet, and I've had it for 2 months now. It's crazy how busy I've been, and it's frustrating because it's one of the things I want to do. But you know,
I've had months of rain too.
Right, rain.
I don't want to fly it in the middle of rain, and then you don't really want to fly it, you know, in a 30, 40 mile an hour wind either.
Oh yeah. Well, I want to learn it right. I mean, it's just like metal. You know, you learn a new piece of technology of any kind, you know, whether it's a drone or whatever, a computer or cell phone, whatever. You got a learning curve in there, and to get used to it enough to where it could be functional for you and not a stress. That's the big thing. Taking the time to learn it, just so you don't have to fight with it later. And that's where I'm at with it. I just don't want to, you know, crash it or lose it and I know they pretty much come back to you and this and that, but you know my luck too. It crash a $600 drone, I'd be freaking out. So I'll take my time and learn it. Thank you very much. Some of these guys were talking about on the videos about those drones. They go out and they're going out in the ocean on these fancy yachts or whatever, you know, whatever kind of boat, doesn't matter. But these guys were in yachts, and he said, "Yeah, I found out you don't want to when you lift off on off the deck with the drone, and you're obviously moving in a boat." He goes, "Don't send it back home because it's going to go back to the location where it took off from." I guess, and he found that out the hard way. It landed right in the water. Oh my God! Didn't even think about it when he hit the button. I thought he would tune into where the controller was. You know, almost like, you know, call it back to where the hand controller was, but
to the GPS.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, that's a bad day. I think it was a Phantom he was using or something. I don't know, one of those real expensive ones. I can't remember. I think it was the $3,000 one, $4,000 one, something like that. He kind of freaked out about that. They have one now that you can land in the water and stuff. Did you see that video?
Yeah, they got one that actually can go underwater,
right,
and then come back up and fly.
Yeah.
I was looking at this one, and a lot of the underwater drones have these tethers on them, and you can take them down almost, you know, I don't know, 50 feet down or whatever.
That'd be. I got to look into those. That would be.
They
awesome
got lights. They got lights and all kinds of stuff on them, you know, and
all these swimming holes and stuff, Craig. These old swimming holes in these river. I mean, you wouldn't technically be, but you can go down and look at the bottom. I don't know how good the cameras. I'm sure they're pretty good cameras, obviously, but
well, it depends on how much you pay.
Well, yeah, it all comes down to money. Yeah, it all comes down to money. I don't think you're going to get away with silicone and duct tape on it. You know, it's going to have to be made right. So, redneck and dip it in silicone or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, you know, I mean, for hunting around bridge and bank, you know, anywhere where a swimming hole was, usually near a bridge or whatever, you can actually take that thing down there and see. Of course, as junky as some of these rivers are, I don't know if you'd want to do that or not anymore. I see a magnet fishing and pulling up bike frames and go-karts and cars and whatever else. You know, I guess you can go down there and look at the bottom if you wanted, but yeah, just be able to fly them in there, fly them out. That's the coolest thing, I think. I didn't even know they had anything like that.
Well, it gives you, it's just pretty cool. I mean, it's, you know, I'd never dreamed that, you know, they'd have something like this, you know, where you could actually, the consumer could actually buy one of these, fly it around, take pictures, take movies. It's just cool.
Yep.
I don't know.
I was talking to the guy today, and I showed him the detectors and stuff because we were sitting by the truck talking, and he goes, Well, I see the one shovel there. What the heck is that thing? And I had that, both my entrenchment tools, and I have them in the back of the truck hanging on. I have milk crates across to keep things from sliding all the way up to the front of the bed and everything, but I have them tied off right there. So I have the entrenchment tools open, but they're hanging inside those milk crates, like so you don't scratch up everything in the bed of the truck. But he saw them. I said, "Oh, these are the equivalent of a samurai warrior sword." And I handed it to him. He goes, "Oh, these things would be great going through routes." I said, "Yeah, I have a lot of the guys in Virginia and up there, the relic hunters use these things." He goes, "These are wicked. Have you ever hit yourself with one?" I said, "I've almost hit myself once or twice, but you learn real quick not to do that. That's why I wear composite toe boots." He started laughing, but and it reminds me of Barbara on here. We got to get her on here one time when she stabbed herself in her foot with her own shovel. The ankle slasher got herself, and it's like, I can see that happening because you kind of get, you're just kind of digging or whatever, and you slam that shovel. We've all done it a million times. Get your foot in the way one time, and Barb will tell you that hurts like heck, man. So I think it wasn't a Predator tool she was using or something like that. So it wasn't like a little.
I think so, yeah.
It wasn't a baby, little garden shovel. We're talking take your toe off kind of thing. Stabbed it right through her foot, or into her foot, anyways. Just painful thinking about it. Not picking on your Barb. I was just condolences on the foot. Excuse me, sorry guys. Safety and stuff. When you're out there hunting, and we're getting into the green up too. With bugs and ticks and chiggers and I don't know. All kinds of critters and bears. They told me about that too. They had a bunch of hogs out there, and the coyotes were out and everything else. And this rain has gotten everything just growing so much, and all these little critters are out now.
I saw there's a YouTube channel called I think it's called Green Mountain Metal Detecting.
Yeah,
and it's up in Vermont. Those guys were just covered in bugs, and they were inhaling them and. Oh my God! It's unbelievable. You could actually see the cloud around them, through the camera.
That's one thing I just hate is mosquitoes and bugs like that. A little extra protein in your diet.
the stealth diggers, it's fairly warm outside now, and Keebler was wearing a coat, and he goes, "This isn't because I'm cold.
Yeah,
it's because I got bugs all over me."
I don't know if those microfiber, Pauline, those long sleeve shirts you got me, the thin, for when you're working outside that the tree trimmers use, can a mosquito bite through those? Oh, they can. Never mind. I was thinking they were tightly woven enough where a mosquito couldn't get you through it. That's what bugs me. It buzzing around my ears. Of course, I have headphones on, but like your eyes and stuff, I just, it gets a little overbearing. I've seen guys like Gunner. I remember when he's up in Minnesota and he's hunting, and he has a mosquito net over his head, and the mosquitoes are all stuck to it, and it's like you're up in Alaska is another place that the mosquitoes just want to carry you off. And we got mosquitoes down here the size of quarters, wingspan and legs. They're big old monster mosquitoes, and they hurt. So,
yeah,
I wish they developed.
We seem to have different kinds up here, and
I don't
know. Crazy, even the mosquitoes, and it started getting diseases and stuff up, different things. And
well, that's why they created the love bugs. The love bugs that terrorize everybody now and get all over your cars and everything. Those were actually a project. I think it was the state of Florida. I believe it was one of these. Florida University actually released those. University of Florida. Pauline can't remember, but these things were. We're going to develop these. These will eat mosquitoes. Yeah, they'll eat mosquitoes when there's nothing else left around. They prefer exhaust fumes. So it's a nightmare. This year wasn't bad. That hurricane, I think, wiped out, not all of them, but at least where I'm at, I didn't see hardly any, which is not normal. But these things, man, I tell you, they get on your car, they hit, and you got to wash your car up. It'll pit right into the paint of your car. But they love exhaust fumes. So, yeah, they're going to colonate around any kind of, interstate or state road or whatever. They're nasty smelling things, but they actually develop those to attack mosquitoes or to eat the mosquito population. And it didn't work. When they have nothing else to eat, they'll eat mosquito. So I thought, oh, great, now we have to deal with this forever. But it used to be a lot worse than it is now. But mosquitoes, man, I just don't They don't bother me a lot of times. It's just when you're trying to do finite work and they're buzzing around your eyes and stuff like that, it just drives me crazy. But we can deal with them. I like to have the off or whatever right there so I can hear them scream when I spray them with it. I live in a fog of off. Does that stuff you use, Craig, does that keep mosquitoes away from you? That stuff you spray on your clothes?
Any bug.
Really?
They just, it's like a, poison for them. But they don't even seem to be near me when I have that stuff, even near my face or anything.
One thing I was worried about about that stuff, and maybe you could tell me. Now, you're spraying the outside of your clothes. How much does that absorb into the clothes? Because I was thinking, if you sweat a lot or whatever, does that, if it's like if you sprayed it on a flannel shirt, light flannel shirt or something like that, or a light T-shirt type thing, and if you start sweating a lot, is that going to get into your pores? That probably wouldn't hurt you. It's made out of hibiscus or what was it, magnolia or chrysanthemums. So it probably wouldn't hurt you at all, would it? I mean, you wouldn't want to spray it on your skin or nothing like that.
It just says that. Well, it's like who was it that was telling us about the clothing and
the socks? Yeah, it was Bill Marsh, I believe. Bill Marsh was telling us about that. The socks.
But anyway, that stuff is, I guess it's kind of they got some process where it binds with the cloth.
Oh, okay.
But I think if it was toxic or it was bad for you, they wouldn't allow it. But
I think about how much we sweat. I mean, I come in, I'm like somebody threw a bucket of water on me, especially now. I mean, I was sitting around talking with the guy. We walked around just a little bit out there, and I got home and you could wring my shirt out. It was so humid, and I was just wondering if that stuff could leach in. Obviously you don't want to contaminate yourself with.
Well, from what I'm hearing, you can wash these clothes like several times, and it'll, they're good for a couple months, maybe 6 weeks, of wearing it, and it's still just as good.
Yeah.
So I don't think the sweat would do it. I think, you'd be good to go for a while. But, you could just wash your clothes and then put them back on, and supposedly it's that powerful where
Yeah, call Ohio Relic. Now, Bill Marsh is saying it's worth, you can wash them 24 washes, the socks that have, it's Bug, BUGBEWEAR.com, Bug Beware. It's on the chat line. Bill Marsh just put it up, and they sell not only the socks, but other products too with this stuff on.
Jeans and all kinds of stuff.
And it's really, the prices are actually really good, guys. I looked on there. I think it was, I want to say it was like $7 or something for a pair of socks. At least the ones I was looking at, $7 or $10. Even if it was $20, it'd be worth it because they'd keep those ticks and stuff and the chiggers and stuff from getting. They wouldn't even try to get up your pant legs or anything like that. And that's where I got them when I was up there in Tennessee hunting with Bill and Tom. I got those. That first time I ever had chiggers on me or whatever. And they're annoying as heck. You got to use. Oh, they have a special cream.
Horrible.
Yeah, when Bill got it so bad, man. We were hunting on this ridge, and it was like it's all greened up. And Bill's, I'm going to go through here. I know the Confederates had to have come through here. It's a logical place, and he was in there just, fighting spiders, cobwebs, everything, hardcore style. He was in there swinging. The next day he called and he goes, I've got them all over my leg. They were everywhere, and he was miserable for a week or so. And I was like, oh my God. And I only had, a few on my legs. I didn't even know what it was. I thought I got into poison oak or sumac or whatever. Nope. It was the chiggers, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want them anymore.
Some people used to, I've tried it a few times in the old days, was Skin So Soft.
Yeah, that stuff actually works. It does it. I just don't like smelling so pretty,
Yeah.
But my mom got that stuff back in the early. I think she was like an Avon salesperson back in the '70s, the late '70s, and we'd go out blackberry picking or hunting or whatever, and she'd spray us down with that stuff. And I was like, Mom, the dang deer are going to smell me from 5 miles away. She goes, yeah, but they'll think you smell cute, and they'll come over, and then you could shoot them. I'm like, oh, great, Mom. So you're being morbid about it. But, yeah, that stuff works. It just, I don't know. It has a lot of different. That Skin So Soft was real popular back then because it did a lot of stuff, and you didn't have to have that DEET or whatever it was that Off was using.
Yeah.
That smell, that harsh smell. But this new stuff, you guys, these socks and stuff, these Bugs Be Gone. They really good. I'm gonna get some of them. I don't know. I don't hunt in the woods very often, but even I've got gotten ticks on me in a field, just a regular field that wasn't even very high. I just we get the dog funnel plants and stuff. They grow about 6-7 foot tall, and they're real small, but it's like a crop of vegetables or something. You see them all across there, but those ticks will get on those things too. And you walk through, and they're brushing off onto your arms and stuff. You got to really watch. But I'm definitely going to get. I know I'm going to get one of their shirts and then a couple pairs of those socks. That will work out really good for me. But Craig, you need like a what do they call it, a bodysuit. That's what you need. So you don't get any ticks. You and Bill and the rest of you guys, because I know you guys you'll get right in there and get dirty, no problem at all. Fight the woods. Mark did that too. I was watching Mark get up into the woods and stuff when we were hunting last time, and then I was like, okay, we're all the same. We're just going to go to the worst spot we can find as far as being covered with brush because we think there might be a relic in there, so protect ourselves a little bit. Shoot. But need a hazmat suit is what Bill Marsh is saying. He had them in southern Indiana. We got quite a few guys on chat tonight. We got, of course, Bill Marsh and Mark Hoover. Gone Diggins on. Saw a few more on here up here. If you want to be on chat, you just go over to Spreaker.com and you can log in to Hardcore Metal Detecting Radio and click on the comment section. Barbara Connell's on. Gavin McGregor. I saw Jason on here. Where'd Jason go? Yeah, Jason's on here too. So quite a few guys, a lot of good experience on here. If you don't want to call into the show, you can always ask a question on the chat, and I know one of these guys will be able to answer. Because Craig and I have a hard time walking and chewing gum at the same time, so we have a hard time with keeping up with chat and doing the show at the same time. And that's becoming more and more of a problem, walking and chewing gum. It sounds silly, but man, I tell you, this stuff used to be able to multitask. I don't even try it anymore. One thing at a time. So, but losing my voice already. Dealing with these allergies, Craig, they're crazy. Pauline is too. I mean, sinus infections and everything else.
We got them up here too.
Worse and worse every year.
Last month or so, it's just everything started popping out. It mostly gets to my eyes, sneezing some.
And I got to say, happy Father's Day to all you guys out there that have little munchkins running around or grandkids or whatever. Happy Father's Day to you. I got to get up. I was going to go out metal detecting, but we're going to go up and go up to the our nursing home up here. Me and Pauline and several other people. Wish them a happy Father's Day too. Got some little gifts for them and stuff from the post. Donate a little time tomorrow afternoon. Go and see everybody. But yeah, enjoy your day, you guys, tomorrow. That'd be you can maybe get nice home cooked breakfast or something like that. It's always nice. Hint, hint. You hear my wife laughing too. She says your kids aren't living in the house anymore, so I don't have to cook for you.
That's right. My kids off.
I ran the kids off, so she ain't gonna cook for me no more. Oh, jeez. But Craig, with the up where you're at right now, you're pretty much everything's greened up now, isn't it? I mean, getting into.
Oh yeah.
As I say, you're kind of done for a couple months, anyways, as far as kind of getting into the woods. I know how bad it gets up where you're at or in Virginia, because we tried to hunt that one year. And it was greening up already, and we had a hard time getting a lot of places.
Yeah, it's we also you get out too far and you start running into the bears and stuff like that and rattlesnakes.
Yeah. Fun.
Most people say they're not around here so much because people have killed them.
Yeah.
But there was I guess about 4 years ago, somebody got mauled. Bear, I think maybe on 2nd Street or something like that.
Really?
The woman came out to get her newspaper or something, and got between a cub and the mother. And,
that's never a good. That's territorial there with that mother bear. She will
mhm.
not a good place to be is in between them. That's for sure. Hogs are the same way. These wild hogs down here, you don't want to get between that mama and that baby. You're going to find out real quick that mama's tough.
Yeah, there was a bear on got hit on the 81, probably I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 miles from here.
Yeah.
From what I hear, a lot of the people, when they see one, they start reporting it to, and the police and everybody knows that there's a bear in the area. So they kind of try to keep track of it.
Yeah. I got surprised today. Me and the landowner did. We were right by the house. I mean, within 25 foot of the house, and we'd walked out the side door of this place, or out the back door of the porch there, and he was showing me the bridge embankment, and there was this indentation in the ground about, I don't know, 25, 30 feet between the bridge and the house. And I walked there, I said, "This is strange. Did you dig this out?" He said, "No, that's always been there since I've had the property." And it's just barely, there's a little bit of brush in there. It's nothing real thick, and you can see to the bottom of it in a lot of places. I walked over there, and I didn't know what it was at first. It was a little baby fawn with spots on it still. Jumped up and started running, about ran me right over. And I'm like, "Oh my God, look at that little thing running by." And first thing I did is turn around, "Where's Mama at?" The deer. I didn't see no mama around or nothing, but I think they were out in the field, and she left the baby there, maybe, I don't know, or they got separated, but she found her mom. But it just, Craig, it couldn't have been, it looked like 20-pounder. It was just real small. And, but yeah, it about ran right over me, just wanted to get away, but I didn't even see it. I was almost on it. And, it surprised the landowner too. He goes, "God, we just walked right by there. It must have been standing right there." I said, "Yeah, it couldn't go, it didn't come through the river. It could have, but if it wanted to, but it was dry and everything. But yeah, bebopping right through there like a little munchkin." So I got to see a little bit of wildlife today. Oh, shoot. But yeah,
we've been scared by turkeys a few times where you just walk up on them and all of a sudden they just, they either fly on the ground like a greyhound or they go straight up in the air like a helicopter.
Right.
Crazy.
Oh, down here, this town, or Sumter County, if you like turkey hunting and if you have a permit or can get on private property, that's one of the reasons why. But you might see, Pauline, 50 to 100 or even more toms out in the middle of a field. These are fat turkey too. They're not little, whispers. We saw one that couldn't fly, so he was running across the road. Nothing like seeing a fat turkey run across the road. It's funny as heck. But those, and today, matter of fact, today when I was driving over, because it's like a mile from my house or whatever to the gate for this property, I saw at least 20 sandhill cranes. These are really big, tall birds. They pretty much stay on the ground, and they're usually in pairs, maybe 3, maybe 4 tops. And there was like 20 or 25 of them, and they were all spread out down the road. I don't know what was going on. They were people's yards, just, walking around like they normally do. But I was just surprised to see so many of them in one area. Usually you'll see 2, like I said, between 2 and 4 tops, and that's it. But never in somebody's like front yard by their front door and stuff. It was just kind of weird to see that. And these things are about, what are they, Pauline, about 3.5 foot tall at the head? So if you're in Texas, they call them ribeye on the wing because they actually hunt them over there. Like, they get in packs like a Canadian geese do when they're in the fields. They'll tear up fields and stuff, but in Florida, they're protected. But you don't usually see that many of them. They're not the smartest bird in the world. They'll walk right in front of your car while you're going down the road at their own pace. They don't even try to run. So, usually most of the time we stop for them and honk the horn, tell them get out of the way, But, yeah, they were out and about today, too, so I'm sure we'll see the hogs or hear the hogs tonight. And Loki's been going nuts at night about them hogs. I usually don't worry about him too much, but we were talking about the mamas and the babies. The baby gets underneath the fence somehow or through the fence, you can pretty much guarantee that mama's going to be coming through pretty quick if she sees him. So I usually don't worry about them too much, but you get a pack of them together, and never a good idea. So we kind of keeping an eye on that. Making sure the fences are all good and stuff. between that and the coyotes. I don't know. We've never had a problem with coyotes, Craig. A lot of people, I've talked to some people around here that do, but we've never had a problem. We've been here for quite a while. They've been in our backyard. They've been, heck, right up here by the house, and always just walk away. They don't, matter of fact, the littlest ones, the pups, Loki will go right up to the fence, and they'll be on the other side of the fence, and they have little conversations. It's funny. And he's not trying to get them. He wants to make a friend out of them. I think that's what they're wanting too, because there's so many. We had like at least 25 pups, for like 1 to 2 years old tops, and then you have the adults out there. I think there's like 8 or 9 adults out there, but we've never had really any problems with them. I mean, some people near the Ocala National Forest and stuff have a lot more problems with them. They have to, one couple of the guys I know just leave shotguns by their front door, just because they come right up and they'll attack you sometimes. I guess. I mean, I've never had a problem with them, but I figure the wildlife, as long as I have my little spot in the world, and they can have the rest, So, shoot. Probably going to wrap it up tonight, Craig. It's about 9:30 already. I didn't even realize it. We didn't want to have another show where it went on for 3.5 hours like it did last week. She's going to throw stuff at me now.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It was a fun show, though. It was a fun show because we didn't even realize. Yeah, we didn't look down. It's after 10 o'clock. I'm like, oh my God. My wife's the winner. She's the winner. I'm starting to lose. You can tell I'm starting to lose my voice already. So it's pretty much done for tonight. But shoot, guys, we're on every Thursday night and Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and you can check out the Facebook page for Hardcore Metal Detecting. And, of course, the YouTube channels and stuff like that with Craig Talley and with Derek Askler. And, gosh, the other shows on Spreaker. So, Spreaker.com, there's tons of shows, guys. Every kind of topic you could probably think of is on there somewhere. Whether you're into vaping or gardening or, I don't know, carpentry or whatever. It seems like there's a topic in there, even regular music channels that, I guess, have their own radio show, radio with music on it. So, check them out a little bit, do a little bit of research. The other shows on, there's like 5 other metal detecting shows on during the week, so you can check those out too. But Greg, the good show tonight, and I'm going to probably wrap it up then. Sound good to you?
All righty. Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and follow the show. Share it with friends too. We don't really do any advertising at all. And if you have a friend that's into metal detecting or thinking about getting into it, it might be a fun show, or one of the other shows might be really good. So, every little bit helps. But thanks for listening. You guys, if you can get out there, keep digging. And God bless. Have a good night.